In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
This is Mike.
And we're sitting here today, 3 days before Christmas? We're on Tuesday the 22nd.
Yeah.
And people are going to be listening to this hopefully on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
That's when it'll be coming out. Maybe you have somebody in your house going to be making pies, like what will be happening in my house. Maybe there'll be somebody making cookies, which isn't actually happening in my house because I just some personal info. I already told you, Mike, but I can tell everybody else. I had a little bit of trouble recently with my my blood sugar levels. When you're a fat guy like me and you have bad genetics, you're going to end up being diabetic at some point or another. Add into it the fact that I'm getting old, and you know those things end up hitting you. And then there's the abuse on the body. You know, you expect somebody who's like a longtime alcoholic to eventually have some kind of liver problems, right? Maybe stomach problems.
Possibly, yes.
You expect somebody that has a diet like I've had of basically whatever food I wanted, including binge eating candy on a regular basis. So like most people go through that period in their life where they have the alcohol stuff. They have all the alcohol stories.
Right.
I have candy stories that are similar to the alcohol stories. I mean, nobody ever sadly gets like naked or anything as a result, and there's typically not people tripping over things or breaking stuff or you know having their pants fall down as they're trying to walk across the street home from the bar, and they're puking in a bucket at the same time. You don't get necessarily those stories with the candy stuff, but you still have some fun stories. And yes, for anybody listening, the walking across the street while your pants are falling down while puking in a bucket, that's a real story from somebody we both know, right, Mike?
Yep.
We're not going to say who, though. We'll protect that person's anonymity in this. But I here's the thing. I know that they're listening, and they'll know I'm talking about them.
Right? Wait, look, man, we all did things in our 20s, okay?
But did we do them in our 30s?
Not that I remember.
On that one.
I'm not sure.
Timetable on that one. But anyway, point being, I because of the fact that my sugars are a little out of control right now, having to change some things. Sadly, we don't get these super awesome icing covered sugar cookies that my wife was originally going to make the week of Christmas. I love those cookies. The problem is I love them so much that I just cannot stop eating them.
Understood.
And
that's
so
that's a problem. That can be a problem.
I bought the store-bought ones for the kids because they're okay with they like the store-bought ones. They're okay with both. I'm a little bit more snobbish about it. I'll eat like one or two of the store-bought ones, but they're not the homemade proper sugar cookies. There's a certain consistency that the sugar cookie has to have, and then the icing has to be. I don't like the frosting style icing that the store-bought ones have. That it's still kind of. The best way to describe it is wet and gooey, like icing on a cake would be. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you get the right icing for the sugar cookies, it hardens up. It has almost like a shell on it.
Yeah.
So they're so beautiful. They're so amazing. You only need a little bit of icing on the cookie, just a decorative icing on there. It doesn't need to cover the whole thing. And the ones from the store, the icing is like the thickness of the cookie.
Right.
And for kids, it's great. They love that because they want more icing. I'm my palate is a little more sophisticated when it comes to my cookies. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But so those cookies aren't being made. However, I believe either today or tomorrow there will be some making of the traditional pumpkin bread, which is one of my long-standing family traditions when it comes to Christmas morning. Used to wake up early every Christmas morning with my mother. We were the only two that would wake up early in the house. And I remember one or two of the years that my brothers were actually able to be there. My half brothers, they were able to be there for Christmas a couple of times. I remember them sleeping in and me having to go and beat them up to try to get them out of bed Christmas morning because they weren't as worried about it as me. For me, it was just the joy and the magic. And still to this day, I'm still the first person up on Christmas morning. I'm up before my kids. I'm up before my wife. I'm the first person up, ready to go, waiting for the day. I'll sit, drink a cup of coffee or a cup of hot tea, And breakfast on Christmas morning was always a piece of pumpkin bread with butter. That's it, just pumpkin bread and some butter.
Okay.
And
wow.
I would sit there with my mom and eat, and we each have a piece of pumpkin bread and butter, waiting for everybody else to wake up.
Aw.
Just kind of a neat tradition. Now, of course, I've upped it, and I have the piece in the morning with the butter, but then later in the morning, after gifts are all opened and kids have retired to rooms, and we can start having actual real breakfast, I take that pumpkin bread and make it into French toast, as we've discussed before on the podcast here.
Yep.
Which is what we're both, myself and my wife, are looking forward to, is the pumpkin bread French toast that morning.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because gotta have that pumpkin bread French toast. So good. But no, and then of course, when people are listening this Christmas Eve, like I said, I hope you're getting pies ready and all the other assorted treats that you're going to have. I know we're getting 2 pumpkin pies at the insistence of my oldest child. He is completely in love with pumpkin pie at this point in his life. So as many pumpkin pies as we can have, he is happy for, and he will eat them until they are gone. And then we're getting a pecan pie, which is one of my favorites.
Oh man.
Big fan of a pecan pie. Didn't used to like them though. It was one of those things, like many things that we eat, as we grow older, we find the enjoyment of them.
Yeah,
with the changing of our palate.
I have not tried pecan pie in an extremely long time. I remembered not liking it, and I've been kind of driven away from it because of that. But it might be something that I might want to get my hands on again, just to try it out. Like it's the time to do it is right now, Yeah,
just to give it a whirl. I will say there's a sweetness factor that can be a little bit weird, and then the biggest weirdness of pecan pie is the texture of it.
Interesting.
It is a weird texture because it's basically a bunch of Caro syrup and pecans on top, and so the syrup kind of, with the other stuff that you add in, the syrup kind of almost becomes like a jello-y consistency. And then there's the pecans on top. It's a really weird consistency thing, which is the reason I didn't like it years ago, because of my consistency issues.
Gotcha.
When it comes to food. And it's something that, if it's done right, the Caro syrup parts sets up just enough that there's enough solidness to it that it works, but it has to be done right. I don't typically buy. That's one of those I'm not a fan of. Not a fan at all of store bought. I can deal with the store bought like pumpkin pie. Homemade ones are better by far, but I can deal with a store bought one. I'm not going to be like, somebody brings a store bought one, I'm not going to be turning my nose up at it. But the pecan pie, it really needs to be done right, and it needs to be done by somebody who knows what they're doing with it.
Okay, I can understand that. Me, myself, I was more of I've just never, God, I'm going to regret this. I've just never really been into nuts. I'm just not a nut guy. But I just, totally there's no other way to describe it.
There's no way to say this without sounding salacious. I'm not a nut guy. Totally not a nut guy.
No, seriously, like it's just like anything that's like, I don't like almonds, I don't like walnuts, I don't even really like cashews. And cashews are like the mildest of the nuts that you can eat. I don't like almonds, I can't stand almonds. And I used to have almonds all the time when I was a kid. I am not a fan of peanuts or walnuts or any type of nut, really. But I have found and discovered that certain types of nuts do fit when they're mixed with other things. Like,
I get you.
Nuts can be used as a proper garnish if you are, if you know what you're doing. Nuts can be used as a proper garnish. I can't say this with a straight face. But you know what I mean.
I can't listen to you with a straight face. I mean, you know what's coming into my brain at this moment in time?
Oh God, the sound bites that can come out of this shit.
I'm thinking of the SNL sweaty balls.
The sweaty balls.
That's all I'm thinking of is like everything that you're saying right now.
Nuts in and of themselves are not particularly.
I want to take like the NPR voice
by
for this. Right now. So we're back here with Mike. And he's talking about his feelings about nuts. So you're not a nut guy, Mike. Explain that. Seriously.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
I'm not really into nuts, but I did find that nuts themselves can be, they can really add to the flavor of as an additive or a garnish. They supplement the dish very well. We could keep going with this bit if you want.
I don't know that I can't. Normally, I'm good about not breaking on things and being able to keep a straight face. Not in this one.
It's too good.
The thing is, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
That it's, and I'm going to go out on the limb and say this: nuts aren't for everybody.
Nope, not at all.
And they're really not.
Oh God, I could introduce you to the. Oh man, this is a Christmas conversation.
I'm not sure if you wanted. If I want you to introduce me to things at this point.
This is terrible. Oh man, how south do you want this to go? We can completely go off of the general nuts conversation into nut derivative territory. And I was introduced to something last night by a Facebook friend of mine.
Okay,
that was the most terrible idea. And
which is what? Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Sir, I hope nobody is listening to this with their children. You better not be listening to this with your children. I am putting out a full disclaimer before we continue to move forward. Even the grade school stuff that we just went through a minute ago, this is definitely inappropriate. I am like full marking explicit the episode right now. Okay. Somebody introduced me yesterday to a sex toy device called the Baldo. Do you know what that means?
No.
Okay, sir.
And I just want to say, I do have a general understanding of sex toys, just because I have a general understanding of a lot of things, and there are a few that I have personally employed and find extremely useful. There are some that I think are appropriate things for not only appropriate things, I think are almost necessary things for couples to have, as they can be extremely helpful. And once you get past some of the stigma behind it, it's actually something that can keep a relationship alive and going sexually far beyond what most relationships end up being.
Oh, legit. Anyway, absolutely. Continue. Yeah. And I am shaming no one for their preference here. Okay. So this is just something I am expressing my absolute lack of understanding for, just as a device. Like I said, I am not trying to shame anyone. You do you. There is nothing wrong with it. And especially, like, I second everything that James just said. That being said,
what's the Baldo?
The Baldo is a... Oh, boy. The Baldo is a device that utilizes your scrotum to penetrate your partner. It's basically a dildo that has a silicone ring that it's a silicone ring that you insert your scrotum into to use your scrotum to penetrate your partner. As a matter of fact, just in case there is not enough tension to grasp on your testicles, this thing, I am not kidding, has extra rings on it to make sure that it pulls and harnesses your scrotum with tension so that you can use it for
it turned your scrotum into a phallic device, basically.
Yes.
Okay, my question would be, who's it supposed to enhance the pleasure for, the female or the male?
I don't know. That's where I'm confused, because it feels like, first, like, I don't know any. There are some people that have certain sensitivities in that area, and there are some people that are into certain abuses of that area. And like I said, I'm not looking to shame anybody.
Smacking, whipping, kicking.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, I get you on that.
And I do apologize for this conversation going way south. But the only thing I could think of here, here's what doesn't make sense to me. Okay, why would you want to, like? I have been in situations where I have been pulled and yanked and definitely voiced my displeasure at doing so in that area. This is a very personal thing, I know, but I'm just trying to say.
I get you, man. I get you.
To some people, that's extremely hypersensitive. Why would you want to use that?
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. If it's hypersensitive to pain, it may also be for some people hypersensitive to actual stimulation and pleasure stimulation.
But like,
because those things can go I'm not saying they do always, but those things can go hand in hand with people.
Okay.
And then the other side of it is, what if it's a specific fetish for the woman for that specific part of the male anatomy to interact with in a specific way? So that's. That's why my question was: does this product aim more towards the sexual satisfaction of the man or the satisfaction of the woman? Whose specific kink is it working towards?
Right.
It may be both and in different ways. But I can use just a common real world example of the fact that any guy listening to this that has worn boxers and shifted in their seat in the wrong way and got a nut trapped under their thigh,
right?
That is just not a situation you want to be in. You don't want them things restricted in that way. It's not necessarily comfortable.
Okay,
and so
that's where I'm getting at with it, because that's what that's
where
every
your brain
dude has dealt with that. Yeah, exactly. And I understand the lack of expectation. Maybe it's the fact that you expect it to happen. Maybe you're prepared for it. I don't know. But the type of pain that I have experienced from this feels like there is more than just like, you're not just getting that area yanked. Like, you're feeling tension in things you didn't realize were there until you felt them hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
so this, I'm just curious. What led to the conversation with this Facebook friend to take you down that path? Were you guys talking about your disdain for cashews?
No. Okay,
is that
so
what it is?
They are part of a small section of people that I know that are involved in like a Secret Santa kind of a thing. Okay, so so they send me a message and they said, "You're lucky I wasn't your Secret Santa this year," and then send me this link. And I tried to call them just to yell at them for showing me that thing. By the way, this thing was developed by a couple. So it is,
and the thing is,
and like I said,
like you were saying at the very beginning of it, everybody has the things that are the things that are sexually attracting to them.
Right.
If you are not hurting yourself or other people, and you are not forcing anybody into do something that they are not consenting to do,
right, then
you should have the capability of expressing your kink in the safest way humanly possible. And if that is that is the thing that you want to express, then hey, there's a device for you to be able to express it. I'm going to say that I'm going to just take the guess that device is you'll be given that a hard no. And
let's say that.
In my thoughts about it, I would probably be giving that a hard no too.
Right.
Only because I mean, and this is just male anatomy here, but I do have a phallic device above that does the job for me, so I really don't need to turn that into a phallic device.
Right.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Like I said, but, I mean,
each to their own.
And that's where I get to it. My point of view on it was, I am not looking to shame anyone for their preference. Like, if that's your preference, especially what you said rings absolutely true. Like, if that is something that you're into, there is no reason to be ashamed of it. I am in equal parts expressing my lack of understanding of there's just some things you look at and go, why? And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I can understand that. Although I am a little worried about you now. I'm worried that you are going to go over to somebody's house once we're allowed to go back to people's houses again, once all of the COVID craziness clears up. I'm worried that you're going to go there. Somebody's going to offer you like a bowl with mixed nuts, and suddenly you're going to launch into this conversation. It's like going to be a trigger with you. You're going to see like, an ad on TV for pistachios or something. Richard
just look over to my friend. Somebody showed me something,
and you're just gonna have like flashbacks of the Baldo, and dude, it's just gonna be a thing.
It was okay. You might be very right, because like it was almost in certain instances somewhat traumatizing. to just be like, why? But dude, they had not just diagrams, but they had like a full picture showing how it's attached on this advertisement.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out and buy like at one of the bulk stores, Costco or something like that. I'm gonna go buy a box that has like the individual packaged things of like peanuts or cashews or whatever that you can buy you normally buy them at like 7-Eleven, and they're
right.
They're just the long bags that have the cashews in it or something, or like I said, the peanuts. I'm just gonna grab a box of those, and the next time I see you, I'm just gonna start throwing them at you. And
I hate you so much.
And see if it gives you the same kind of freak out reaction that it does for me when people throw cotton balls at me. Yeah, that freaks me out.
Okay, I don't have that kind of fear, but yeah, it just. So I do apologize for the segue, but I couldn't get. It's entirely understood how it got there, how we got to this part of the conversation. If you've just been listening,
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's a conversation about nuts.
Yeah, exactly. So,
wow.
Oh, there's the episode title right there.
Oh gosh. and that starts
Merry
from
Christmas,
me
everyone.
That starts from me talking about pecan pie. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to eat the pecan pie now. Who am I kidding? I'm fat. I'll still eat the pecan pie. But
yeah,
anyway.
dude, like that was that became a too much type situation for me.
Let me add this on, okay? Let me add this on, since we did go into this territory. I would recommend that unless you're buying it for your partner and your partner already knows and expects the gift, gifts like that are not appropriate necessarily to buy for other people, unless relationships where the two friends have been friends for a long time and are close enough that they can have those type of discussions and buy those type of things. I mean, we can go back. I think we mentioned before Eminem, for Elton John's marriage, Eminem bought Elton John and his new husband diamond encrusted cock rings.
Yes.
So if you know the person well enough and you have a good enough relationship with them, I guess you can do stuff like that. But typically, and especially in a Secret Santa situation, not necessarily the best gift decisions, unless you're looking to truly embarrass the hell out of somebody.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Guess what you're getting next year for your birthday?
Yeah, that's no. No, James.
You're the one who gave me the idea, man. Got to see it through.
Oh, boy. What have I done? What have I done?
But anyway, how am I going to segue off of this?
I'm sorry. I know I ran us right into a trap.
I'm like, I was going to talk about another dead person and more Christmassy stuff. And I was even going to ask you about like your favorite Christmas movie. But now I'm just like, or at least if not your favorite Christmas movie, which ones maybe you have watched. But now I'm kind of in a situation of, great, I was just talking about pecan pie and look where we went to.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry about that.
Well, actually, that does make me think of something. What if you got something like that as a Christmas gift?
Oh,
that would be a hell of a gift. Can you think of right now, just off the top of your head, like one of the worst gifts you've ever gotten?
Oh,
I guess that's the best way I can segue off of this. I can think of two awful gifts that I've gotten, and no, they were not sex toys in any way, shape, or form. They possibly could have been used as such, but they aren't, or at least they weren't. I no longer have either one of the items.
Oh man, one of the worst gifts I may have ever gotten for Christmas. Man, I always get stuff that I could super use. For the longest time, I wasn't necessarily into Christmas in general because I kind of wormed it in with the retail thing.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much stress around it. You see how people are, and then you have to act like you haven't seen that in people when you go visit family, and there's no real break for anyone that really does that. So it was really frustrating for me for quite some time. And it has only been in the last few years or so that I've been able to actually start to appreciate like the Christmas time, just Christmas time or holiday season in general. It makes more sense to me now. But man, the worst gift, I don't know, like probably a pair of jeans didn't fit or something like that. I can't quite remember most of the gifts. I've never been offended by a gift. I will tell you that. Not like, we're not talking like Wayne's World gun rack dumb or anything that I just look at and I'm like, why would you give this to me? Like, I've never gotten one of those. Most of the people that I have dealt with that have given me gifts either given me something that I could really use, like, new socks is always awesome on Christmas. Like, I always loved new socks because I never went out for the longest time and bought my own socks. I'd always get new socks at Christmas.
Okay, I can get that.
But there was nothing that I can remember that specifically was just like, this makes no sense. Not that I can remember anyway.
I got some. I have some.
Okay. Yeah, I got to hear these stories.
Yeah, so this is one back in the teenage years.
Okay.
This is the era for those still listening after all the debacle before. This is the era before cell phones were really prominent. If you had a cell phone, it was a giant brick battery with a weird handset, and it just stayed in your car. And it wasn't even called a cell phone. It was typically called a car phone at that point.
Oh yeah.
You didn't have those. However, there was a technology that young people did have to try to keep in contact when they were away from home.
Right.
And that technology was the pager.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So
I almost forget pagers. I never had one. Wait, did I have one? I think I might have had one.
I
never. Oh, you did?
I had a couple of them. This one, though, I had asked for one. I was still in high school. So, in all honesty, it probably wouldn't have even worked in my high school since it was up in the middle of the woods and nowhere. So it probably wouldn't have worked, but it was one of those things to have. So I asked for a pager for Christmas. That was the big thing I wanted for Christmas that year.
Okay.
And I got a pager for Christmas. It was a Power Ranger toy pager where you just push the buttons.
Oh.
My mom thought it was cute to buy me a toy pager because there was no way in hell I was getting a real one. Yeah, that was a little bit like, okay, thank you. I'll go look in the mirror at the handprint on my face now. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think either the same year or a year or two before that, I had gotten a gift from my sister-in-law, my oldest brother's first wife. She had a kid, and I was laying on the floor with the kid. They had one of those structures that I forget exactly what they were called. I even had them for my kids, and I don't remember what they were called. But they're like it's like a swing set type structure, the frame of like you'd have for a swing set, but then like toys hang from underneath it, and the kid lays underneath on their back and smacks the toys and whatnot. Yeah. Plays them. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. But when the kids are, within the first, like from 3 to 9 months when they're not really moving too much. Right. They're just learning how to crawl, being on the floor, getting their floor time on the back or the tummy or whatever. They have these things to play with. And I was, I'm a preteen or young teen at this point, young teen, I think. And I'm on the floor playing with the kid. Right. Right. And so I'm playing with the toys. It was a Sesame Street thing. And I'm playing with the toys and squeezing them and making noise and laughing with the kid. Because I'd had younger sisters who were babies as well, not too long before this. So I was used to playing with kids. And this is my niece. So I'm on the floor playing with the kid, right? Doing what I think a good teenage uncle should be doing, being on the floor and playing with your niece. Right. Being, giving some quality time. So for Christmas, I get a truck, a little kid's truck that has, not even a truck, like this little car that has, I think, Elmo in it. And you push the button and it makes noises, and then you pull, the one that you pull back and it drives. She got it because this is a 3-year-old toy, maybe a 2 or 3-year-old toy, right? Like that age group of children. She got it because she thought it was so cute that I was playing with the toys with her kid, and I must love to have a toy like that. She was making it an ironic toy, okay, that kind of a thing. Right. I was just like, really? That's all you got me for Christmas? Was that? Wow. Yeah, it was a bad year for that. I was really upset with that one. Because it was like supposed to be a gag style gift, but there was no real gag involved in it. What the hell, man? Definitely not a gag that was. Years later, when I was about 18, one of my friends got me a Play School hammer, little red Play School hammer. And at first I looked at it like, why the heck did you get me a play school hammer? But at the time we were playing D&D a lot, a whole lot of playing D&D. And we had some rowdy people in the group that I would have to get to quiet down. And they're like, I couldn't afford like a real gavel, so I got you that as a gavel. And it's bright red play school hammer, and it's like the idea would be this is your gavel to smack on the table and get everybody to pay attention.
That's fantastic. Okay, that's considerate.
And I was like, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, you're not going to go spend a whole bunch of money on a teenage friend for a gavel, so you get this thing for like less than $10 that can act as one. I like it. It's cool.
That's fantastic.
That one made a lot of sense. But the Sesame Street little car thing and the Power Rangers picture, those things are long gone. I got rid of them a long time ago because they were more insulting than anything else.
Wait, do you still have the gavel or hammer?
I do not have the hammer anymore. I don't know what happened to that.
Oh,
that
man.
Got lost somewhere. Oh no, that was a cool thing. It was in with my D&D stuff for the longest time because that was actually a really cool gift idea, a good way of working around things. And I'm totally cool with ideas like that. It's just the attempt at gag gifts that actually infantilize somebody as opposed to being a true gag gift,
right?
Is just annoying because it just shows a limited understanding of the person, and that the hammer actually showed a really good understanding of the person. And there's still little kids toys, much younger than what my age was when I received them, but the right kind of kids toy can make it a huge difference,
Okay.
And I mean, I've had people before that have bought me just a random like a random t-shirt that has no connection to me whatsoever, but they just thought it looked cool. And they may have spent, $15-20 on the shirt, which is way more than I ever spend on t-shirts typically. And then have somebody buy me a $5 one that like fits my personality perfectly. I even had people way back when, it was actually not long before I met you, that bought me a women's t-shirt. Interestingly enough, somebody bought me for a Christmas present a Metallica t-shirt that was a woman's shirt.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it was basically it was designed for, it was during a time period where I had I was no longer with my high school girlfriend, but before I met my wife. And the idea was that it would be for my dream girl when I met my dream girl.
Aw, that's cute.
And it was just kind of a way to kind of bulk me up. Well, sadly, it was not necessarily in a size that my wife could wear because it was a very, very small size.
Uh-huh.
However, one of my dream girls ended up wearing it at one point or another.
Oh.
So I was happy for that. My daughter actually got to wear it.
Oh, dude, that's great.
I held on to it for that long until she could fit into it. And I even have, there was a time I even posted pictures of her online with her wearing her Metallica shirt.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah. It all
wholesome ending. I like it.
It ended up working out in the end that some girl I loved ended up being able to wear that shirt and enjoy it.
That's great, man.
Know the beauty of Metallica. In fact, I think I even have a video of her wearing that shirt, rocking out to music from a local Sacramento band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a band called Prilosis. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh, yeah, I think I might have heard of those guys.
Oh, yeah, I think she's wearing her Metallica shirt when she's rocking out to that. She's
really,
she's like 2 or 3, and she's just dancing all over the place.
I'm gonna have to see this.
I'm gonna have to find the video again.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see that.
I think I sent it to you when it happened, but that was such a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
But anyway.
Well, okay, so I have a question for you. I know that you were discussing, now were these, just out of curiosity, all Christmas gifts?
All these were Christmas gifts,
okay.
Yes.
Now, I do not really have a lot, I don't really have any, most of the time this stuff didn't happen around Christmas. But I have had some pretty interesting birthday gifts. I have one in particular that I was kind of that I was kind of a fan of because it caught me so off guard. I guess I could share that one. I know it's not a Christmas gift, but it does get referenced almost every single Christmas now. So for my birthday, I ended up getting a box of, from my aunt, I ended up getting a box of See's chocolates. Okay. She got me a box of the See's chocolates, full bore box of chocolates. Now, little did I know that there were not chocolates in this box, because the way that the box was made, or how it was set up, they took their time to make sure that the box weighed as much as it would weigh when it had chocolates in it. So when I opened this box, it was full of opened candy wrappers, zero candy, and nuts and bolts glued to the inside in a various fashion that allowed the weight of the box to stay even.
Nice.
Now, that wasn't the real gift. Now, this was, by the way, I think it was the same year that I got a box of S&W canned tomatoes in a giant cardboard box, as a reference to an old commercial.
Okay.
But the actual gift was like a gift card to, like, I think it was like to a KB Toys or something like that, because I was like 10, 12 years old. What had happened? This reference constantly gets referenced every single time there is any type of family gathering that has to do with gifts. And I can never ever trust gifts from my aunt now, even though there have been multiple times where she has gotten me a box of chocolates just in reference to that gag. And the box is actually full of chocolates. I don't remember another time where the box of chocolates wasn't an actual box of chocolates.
I already like this
that
person.
It took. Yeah.
I already like this person.
Yes.
Because I one of my favorite things to do when it comes to gifts is to do the giftception type thing.
Yeah.
One year for my two sisters and my wife's sisters that lived in the area at the time. I think there was either 2 or 3 of them living in the area at the time. There was a time when we actually had a good year for us, a good financial year. And so I always tried to make it a point to make sure that everybody in our circle of family got gifts. Everybody did, no matter what, even if they were cheap and expensive gifts. There were years where I had to go to the dollar store, buy each person a $1 coffee mug, go to like a grocery store that sells bulk candy and get like the green and red Starlight Mints. Buy those in bulk because they're cheap as hell, and buy like individual. They have like the $1 individual thing of coffee, or maybe hot chocolate for the kids who didn't drink coffee at the time.
Gotcha.
And buy a box of hot chocolate, and we would take like a pack or 2 of hot chocolate and put it in each bowl or each cup, each mug,
right,
with some of the candy. And so like we spent like maybe $40 and bought gifts for like 20 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's all we could afford.
Right.
That's all that we had the money to be able to do. But I made sure that everybody got something, even if it was an inexpensive something, they got something. I figured out a way to make sure they got something. But this one year we had done well financially. We had a really good year. And so we went a little bit more when it came to gifts. And we had the capability to give both, at the time, you were able to go see a movie on like a weekday, you could go see the movie for less than or around $10 a ticket. Okay. And then, so we got a deal on gift cards to a restaurant, where if you bought so many of them, you got so much for free. And so what we did is we bought, if you bought a certain denomination, you got like an extra $10 or $20, whatever, for free. So we got a pretty good deal. Oh, okay. We made a couple of different purchases, and we were able to give each one of the siblings and their significant others as a joint gift. We gave them $20 in movie gift card to go to the movies, and we gave them like $30 in for the restaurant, which is it was one of those sit down places like an Applebee's, Chili's type place where $30 if you ordered off of the right menus could get you your food for the night.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? You couldn't order the best stuff, but you have they have stuff where it's like 2 for so much, and then your drinks and $30 roughly would pay for it.
Right.
You might have to kick okay. The idea being all of these were couples, so we tried to give them a paid date night basically as their gift. Okay. They get to go out to the movie, to go out to dinner, and then go out to the movies afterwards. kind of a neat thing.
Yeah.
And about a $50 value. So it was, I mean, we put in a pretty decent amount of money, at least for us. That was about the most we've ever spent on, siblings for gifts.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, this is how we're going to do it. But I didn't want to give them just a card that had that, because that's kind of lame, right?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So instead, I went and bought as well for each one of the couples a box of Pop-Tarts. And there's a reason for this, because we used to save Pop-Tart boxes. When I was growing up, we would save Pop-Tart boxes to put other presents in. And there were many times I would have leftover Pop-Tart boxes because you could put other things in them. Like mugs are really hard to wrap. And I have given out a lot of mugs.
Oh my God, that is brilliant.
Pop-Tart boxes. So we save boxes all the time to put things in. So each couple got a box of Pop-Tarts and a 12-pack of soda.
Nice.
And I actually inserted the gift cards inside the boxes. So at first they're like,
right.
oh, James is doing his thing where he's put, just like your aunt did, he's put something else in the box. I need to open the box and see what it is.
Right.
And they open it, and it's freaking Pop-Tarts, and they're like, what? And it's even better because I would open the box and then retape it.
Right.
So they expected, it's not going to be, it's freaking Pop-Tarts. And they're like, why did you give me Pop-Tarts? Look deeper. The soda, nothing. It was like, you got me just soda? You got a soda and Pop-Tarts? What the hell is that? I had to look in to find the actual gifts.
That's fantastic.
I love doing stuff like that. Like you were talking about with the nuts and bolts. My dad got my mom a 49er jacket way back 1990, 1991. And it was one of the nice, the gold ones, what I'm talking about.
Gold with red stripes?
Yeah.
I still have my dad's jacket.
I hate you. Anyway, beautiful jacket, right? He got her the jacket. Mm-hmm. She was bad like me when it came to presents. She would try to open presents. She tried to guess what they are. She was just a pain with it. And so to throw her off, he wrapped it up in newspaper or tissue paper. No, it was newspaper. You wanted newspaper, so it'd be good enough to hold up against what he was doing. Put it in a box, and then he put like a brake caliper or something like that in the box. So it was like this super heavy box. She had no idea. She opened it up, and it's an engine part. As far as she's concerned, it's a car part. Like, what the hell did you get me this for? And then pull the car part out. And I think that same year, she had got me my Vanilla Ice cassette tape.
Yeah.
And it's a cassette tape of Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
She put it in a box that was 3 foot tall by like 18 inches and 12 inches at the bottom of this box, covered in newspaper. And I had to dig for a cassette tape in that. So this kind of stuff, the Giftception, I love doing. I was going to say,
this seems like it runs in the family, man. This is like a regular deal.
It's so much fun. I've done for my wife before. I've had her do scavenger hunts.
Yeah.
For her gifts, and I've hidden gifts throughout the house, and she has to scavenger hunt around to each one to get all the pieces of the gift. Oh, she hates that. Think about it. She hates that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it puts her with everybody watching her doing the scavenger hunt. Since we've had more adults around, I don't have her do it as much because she hates people watching her like that.
Right.
But this year, I can say I've Giftception her big gift that I haven't quite revealed yet, but everybody's going to know about it later.
Nice.
I'm so proud of it.
Good.
And
you have to tell me how that goes after.
Oh, I will tell you, it's going to go good, dude. I can tell you right now, I put them all in the bag. I'm talking lower so she can't hear me in case she's nearby. I put them all in the bag, and then I put the gift she gets every year, which every year she gets these 2 Christmas bears,
right,
that have the year on them. It's been a tradition, only missed 2 years,
right.
Big tradition. She knows she gets those. She's seen those.
Right.
I told her that I put a box underneath those in the bag that they're in, so that they sit on top of the bag and you can see them because they're in a really tall bag. But all the other gifts are underneath. They're all wrapped. And it gets better. I have a letter sitting on top for her to read. And the letter has multiple lines on it, explaining that she has to look underneath and there's more stuff, yada, yada. The first letter of each sentence spells out what the gift is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they're capitalized bigger. They're capitalized and they're a little bit bigger because I wrote it by hand. And the thing is, I had her sister read it.
Right.
She didn't catch that.
Good.
So I'm hoping that the wife won't catch it either. She'll just read it and she'll be like, okay, what's this? What's this? All right. And then later I can point out the beauty of what I did.
Aw.
I'm so proud of myself.
That's great, dude.
But then here's the fun thing. Like, she don't know about any of that. That's all the surprise for her.
Yeah.
But like, the really fun thing is we put together the stuff for her grandmother for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Some of it the wife made, some of it we bought and found and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And the way that it's set up, and she's in a bedroom and she don't listen to this, so I can say what's in there. I can't say all of it, but I can say pieces of it. One gift, the first gift is kind of small. It got wrapped up. It got put inside the second gift.
Okay.
That got wrapped up. Second gift got put inside the third gift. It got wrapped up. Third gift inside the fourth gift. It got wrapped up.
Good God.
And then there's a fifth and final gift that's wrapped separately. So as the grandmother is opening, it looks like she only has 2 gifts, but she has 5 in total. So as she will open it, she'll be getting a new gift with each opening of things. And it was my wife's
just
idea
a whole like Russian doll kind of thing, man. That's
it's
killer.
It was a total Russian nesting doll thing.
That's fantastic.
In fact, the other day I was talking to the grandmother about how she's going to enjoy Christmas. She's like, yeah, I can say is Russian nesting dolls. That's exactly what I said to her. She's like, huh? And I'm like, you'll get it. And it's just the fun thing is though, it wasn't entirely like I said maybe we could put the first gift inside the second gift because that made sense because it would be funny, right?
Right.
The wife said, yeah, but then I could put the second one inside the third one and the third one inside the fourth one and then all in one big box together. And I'm like, you're diabolical. I can't believe how I've rubbed off on you. It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
Anyway, we're going to take a break now.
Okay, yeah, that's a good spot.
When we come back, I want to talk about any Christmas movies that you might have watched. I'm going to give Mike a bunch of crap about the fact that he still has not gotten to be a part of a certain streaming service, and he needs to do it now. And that will actually segue into the fact that I know so much this year we've talked about people that have celebrities that have passed away, but another one passed away last week, and he has a connection to one of the last celebrities we talked about. Not the very last one, but one of the last ones that we talked about.
I think I missed a celebrity passing. Holy smokes, this is going to be news to me.
You did, because he's not somebody that you would know about.
Okay. Yeah.
And it has a connection to the streaming service and why Mike needs to get on this streaming service.
Okay.
So we'll be back in a minute.
All right. Hey friends, this is Mike from the Xennial Chronicles reminding you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Xencron, spelled Xenchron, to keep up to date on all things TXC. And please check out our official website, theXennialChronicles.com, or if that's too much to type, Zencron.com. Thanks again for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we're back.
All right.
I just had a snack while we were out.
Oh, yeah. You did?
Some nuts.
Oh, good. You enjoy those nuts all you want, James.
I will. I did. I'll do it again later. Anyway, as I was saying before we took our break, I want to talk about, see if you had seen any, started watching any Christmas movies yet. Have you gotten in the spirit that way this year?
No, not really. I'm doing the retail thing, so I'm working a lot. And
then you're doing the playing the video game thing.
I'm doing the playing the video game thing. The closest thing to Christmas I've done is I've done a little house decorating, and when I was house decorating, or when the wife and I were house decorating, I really, really like to listen to alternative Christmas songs. And what I mean by that is like different takes on stuff. Like there's a guy who I really like from back in the day. His name is Bob Rivers. And he did the I Am Santa Claus, which is basically the Iron Man parody cover.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. He has a huge amount of Christmas themed, what I like to call them crossover covers, or maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with the terminology, crossover cover or a cross cover.
Okay.
Where you cross over a style or an artist and you play that song in a different artist style. Some of the stuff that I do, kind of, I'm trying to put a name to it.
Like the one that you did this weekend where you did the Mr. Grinch song in the style of Black Label Society.
Yes. I am not trying to segue into that, by the way. I was not trying to plug that at all.
I'm just mentioning it. I did listen to it, by the way.
Oh, what'd you think?
I want you do know my relationship to the Grinch, right?
Your relationship to the Grinch?
It is my single favorite holiday movie, period.
Well, I absolutely love that movie.
I have,
and we're talking the original Friz Freleng one, right?
Yeah, the original animated.
Yes.
Screw Jim Carrey.
Yes.
And screw the new one with Benedict Cumberbatch. See, I said his name right.
Oh my God, you said his name.
Yes, I said it the correct way. I haven't even watched the Benedict Cumberbatch version because I refuse to.
Gotcha.
The version that is my version is the original animated version.
Oh yeah, Boris Karloff, man.
I remember going to it was my dad's aunt's house for Christmas every year. When we still lived down in the East Bay, we go to her house every year for Christmas, not on Christmas, but around Christmas. It was one of the various places we would go to visit. In the early years, she would get typically books as gifts, which for me, many kids don't necessarily like books as gifts. For me, books were amazing and still are, by the way. I still love receiving books as gifts. I love reading, and so a book is to me a fantastic gift. I have a great imagination, so when I read, I fall right into the world and love it. I have a fairly decent library. I would probably have more. I mean, if I was Belle in Beauty and the Beast, the library would have been enough for me to stay. I've been like, I'll stay with you forever with this library. Hells yeah. But as I got older, it became more interesting gifts. I would get. She was the one I would get fairly pricey cologne or a brand new, eel skin wallet or something for Christmas. So she wasn't necessarily. She wasn't necessarily the best Christmas shopper, but she was one of the most amazing people to be around. And for a long time, she had a gentleman that lived with her. Of course, back then that was salacious for her to be of an advanced age and to have a gentleman living with her that was also an advanced age, but they weren't married. They just lived in the same place. It was very salacious for that to happen.
Oh, no.
Shouldn't have been, but we're talking in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So, people whispered and whatnot. She didn't care because she basically was going to do what she was going to do.
Right.
But a very nice gentleman. I actually remember when I heard the news that he had passed away, very, very sad because I only saw him on special occasions and whatnot, but he was just a very nice, very sweet guy. That's my real memories of him. Other than this, he actually had one of those carts with the TV on it that you used to have in school. Those big metal carts that the TV was on, and they'd wheel it into the classroom.
Yeah.
And you knew you were having a good day because you were going to watch a movie of some type.
Yeah.
On that TV.
Absolutely.
He had one of those carts that he'd wheel around to different rooms of the house. And on that cart was the TV that he had and a laser disc player.
Oh, man.
And I actually do have a laser disc player. I'm actually looking at it right now up here in my my loft office area. I do have a laser disc player, and I do have a number of laser discs.
Wow.
Some fun ones too. I have Batman Forever
on laser disc.
Yeah, Batman Forever. Of all movies to have, Batman Forever. I think Indecent Proposal too. I ended up getting somebody had left the laser disc somewhere, and I had gotten this pile of laser discs, and then I went and bought a laser disc player, or somebody bought one for me. I don't remember. Anyway, point being, one of my best memories from childhood is him being over there when this is before my sisters were born, so I was very young, 5, 6, 7 years old, and every year when I'd go there, I'd want to watch The Grinch because, back then it was hard to find it. You'd have to know the night it was going to be on TV, look in the TV guide, find the night it was going to be on and what channel it was going to be on, and then beg your parents to let you watch it on the one TV that you had in the house.
Right.
So it was hard to find on VHS. You couldn't find it on DVD, and no streaming platform existed at that time. So, you got it when you could. Well, he had How the Grinch Stole Christmas on Laserdisc. And Laserdisc was such a, I mean, if for anybody that hasn't seen them, they're huge. They're massive.
Right.
They're the size of records, which have had a resurgence. So many people have seen records that for a while hadn't seen them. They're massive. They're thick. They're heavy.
Yeah.
And they basically look like CDs. They have that mirror finish to them.
Yeah.
And you hold it the right way, you get different colors in it.
Yep.
Well, he would pull out the disc and show me. He'd hold it the right way to catch the light. He'd say, "You see that green in there? Yeah, I see the green. That's the Grinch in there. He's looking back at you." And it was just such a powerful thing for a kid to look at this beautiful, expensive and new space age technology, these laser discs. And I got to watch this movie on Laserdisc, and he pulled it out special for me on this cart for me to be able to watch this movie, and it made my Christmas every year.
Oh, that's great.
From that moment on, I was stuck on the Grinch as being one of my favorite characters, especially because the Grinch is portrayed as being bad. The song that you sang, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch." He's not mean, man. He just doesn't like the fact that the Who's just seem wrapped up in their stupid traditions and their capitalism and having to buy crap for each other and not caring about each other and themselves. And he's trying to punish them for not caring about each other, for seeming to just be worried about, we have to have this feast with this giant roast beast, and we got to have all these presents and these trimmings and these trees because you can't have Christmas without those things. He's like, you can't have Christmas with them, screw you guys. And then they still do, and he's like, oh, they do understand. They get it. And he gives them the stuff back. Because he can see it. He's not the bad guy. He just doesn't want you sucked up by consumerism. Anyway, I have sitting actually behind me, I have a Grinch doll, a Max the dog, a little jar for my Grinch treats. I have a couple of Grinch t-shirts. And so, Grinch is a big thing for me. That being said, I understand what you were doing with the song. You did a great job with the song.
Thank you.
But I still have to hate it because it's not the original song. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you did it, because anybody that's ever tried to cover that song and change that song, I've hated it because it has to be the right way. Tony the Tiger needs to sing that song, and that's just how it is.
Yes. I've heard a multitude of fan theories about that song, actually. That
you're talking about the whole Tony the Tiger and Grinch connection?
The breakup letter, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that theory. That's one of my favorites. Dude, there was a whole Reddit thing that happened where people they were just totally like Pepe Sylvia putting the thing together. I thought it was fantastic.
Let the Grinch be. Let him be his own thing. But,
I understand the Grinch is sacred, sir.
So you were decorating the house listening to various holiday music.
Oh, yeah.
And you prefer the alternative versions of songs, the different interpretations, as opposed to
either that or just other. There's a comedy band that I love listening to called Psycho Stick.
Okay,
they are.
I know those guys.
So what?
Don't you know them personally?
There's one or two that I've actually met. I'm Facebook friends with the drummer Alex. They're killer people. They're just really, really good people. But they actually spent this entire year doing charity live streams on Twitch and I think they were on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube at the same time. And they were doing charity live streams. They raised, I want to say, well over $53,000 for charity. This year, just doing weekly live streams that last a couple of hours. So they were doing weekly 2-hour shows. Basically, when they would normally get together to practice,
they just live streamed it.
They just live streamed the shit. Set it up with a live stream setup, threw it into a little interface, and threw it out on Twitch, and that was it. And they kicked ass the whole time. They were so good.
So they've got some Christmas stuff too that you've been listening to.
Yes.
I will admit, I am a traditionalist when it comes to Christmas music. I like the traditional versions of each of the songs, the singers that you most associate with the songs.
Yeah.
And I love some of the most hated Christmas songs that there are. I absolutely love them, and I will listen to them as many times as they come on during the Christmas season. Like, what would you consider one of the most hated Christmas songs of all time?
Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney. I am going to get my ass set on fire for that by somebody. But that is hands down the worst fucking song Paul McCartney has ever written. And I know you don't like Beatles. In general,
I don't like the.
You're not,
like
you,
that
and
song.
most of the guys. You what?
I like that song.
Okay, I have heard takes and twists on Wonderful Christmas Time in general, but that is the worst song Paul McCartney has ever written. It is the most annoying fucking song he's ever written. And I love a lot of what Paul McCartney's material is, even in the experimental stuff. But that just, I can't understand. I've heard other covers of Wonderful Christmas Time done extremely well. He actually plays Wonderful Christmas Time live better than the recorded version that you hear on like classic rock radio all the time around this time.
I still like the song.
Wow. Even
one.
It's just the tempo and the echo on the keyboard and everything is just so
I get it.
badly off-putting.
I get where the problems are with the song. I still like it. I don't love it, but I like it.
Holy
it's a good
shit.
Christmas song.
I am floored, sir.
How about All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey?
Okay, that song's a fucking banger. Like, I don't care who you are. That is one of the best. That's one of the best Christmas songs of the last 50 years. That one is like a staple now, which is crazy.
It's
good.
one of those I need to hear at Christmas time.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, All I Want for Christmas Is You is a great song. And there are a lot of people that hate it just because it's Mariah Carey. Dude, she wrote that. Did you know she wrote that?
Doesn't surprise me.
She co-wrote it. I'm shocked. That's killer. And a lot of people give her shit because she's had some vocal problems more recently, and I understand entirely. Age is a big factor, conditioning and all that kind of stuff.
You try to keep the whistle register going for that long,
dude. Tell me about it, right? Like, she doesn't have
the whistle register. Yeah, just try to sing in that just one time, okay?
Exactly. But on top of that, knowing the fact that she can write as well as she can as well, that's some serious good shit.
I mean, she's no Dolly Parton, but still, she's
nobody can touch Dolly Parton.
Willie Nelson, maybe, but that's about it. Check out his. I mean,
I don't know. Dolly Parton, like she writes Bob Dylan level shit. Like, she's up there. She's way up there. Willie Nelson's good too, but
Bob Dylan in the mix doesn't help your argument, in my opinion. But that's
fuck off, dude. Bob Dylan can write. He can't sing, but he can write. He can write his ass off.
We agree on one part of that. He can't sing.
Oh yeah. No, I never said he was a good singer. He's a damn good writer. But look at Mariah Carey. She can do both. And so can Dolly, for that matter.
Yes. Oh, yes. Dolly Parton can do both. So yeah, All I Want for Christmas Is You. That's one of those I have to hear every time.
Yeah.
And then, like, I've seen this year, there's like this whole thing about the Last Christmas, Wham. What's the problem with that song? I love that song. It's a beautiful song.
I've never really liked it, but I don't hate it. Why? Do people hate it?
I don't know. It's a thing this year of trying not to.
Hating on Last Christmas? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right.
It's a good song.
It is a good song. It's a good song. It's not something that I particularly prefer. It's not in like my top 10 of Christmas songs, but my top 10 of Christmas songs they're fucking weird.
It wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me.
My top 10 of Christmas songs is like, I was talking about Psycho Stick. They actually do a cover of O Tannenbaum in the style of Rammstein. That's the kind of stuff I like.
I would actually be interested in hearing that one.
Oh, it's great. I'll link you. I'll link you after. Yeah.
There's some, like, one of the first songs I learned how to play on the guitar was you can see it as a traditional of Greensleeves or What Child Is This?
Yes.
I learned how to play that guitar.
Nice.
I love that song. I love the fact that Joy to the World is just a C scale. That's kind of funny.
Yes.
It's
C major descending.
It's one of those, like, you can just play it on the piano in a C scale, and anybody can learn how to do it really quickly and easily. It's like probably the only thing I can play on the piano or a keyboard.
That's great.
On white keys, it's all you're doing is touching the white keys. You don't have to worry about the black ones at all. But I have a great love for Christmas music. I always have had a great love for Christmas music. The hardest one for me, there's one song that is the difficult one, only because so many people have covered it, because it's one of the most famous Christmas songs, and only a few have gotten it right when they've covered it. And that would be, or they've done it. It's not really covered, but performed it. Oh, Holy Night. That's a really difficult song to do right, because there's a lot of card notes in that.
Yes.
Mariah Carey's version is pretty good. One of my favorite versions is Reba McEntire. In my top 5 is Eric Cartman.
Yes.
Because that version is brilliant and amazing.
Which version? The Cattle Prod version or the other version?
Cattle Prod version, of course.
Cattle Prod version. There was one version of that song that I got way back in the day. My parents got me like the South Park Christmas album, and that one doesn't have the Cattle Prod version, but the non-Cattle Prod version is great too, because he's just kind of making shit up as he goes, but the backup singers know what all the words are, so it's like they're correcting him as he's trying to sing the song, and it's very, very well done.
Cattle Prod one's more fun though.
Yes. Also, Chef's version of What Child Is This is amazing.
I've heard it. I don't remember it that well though.
Oh, it's good.
But anyway, yeah, no, I do the Christmas music to some extent. And my favorite still to this day is the Chipmunks rendition of almost any Christmas song, because the Chipmunks are amazing. I had at one point in my life, I had the Chipmunks Christmas album. I had it on 8-track, no less. Nice. I do not have it anymore. I wish I did. It's one of my prized possessions that I no longer have for various reasons. And sadly, the reasons I don't have it are somewhat traumatic. So I refuse to let my wife buy a CD copy of it, because I'm still not quite ready to deal with that.
Oh, I think we've had this. I think we've had this conversation before.
We have had this conversation before.
Yes.
But no, I'm also really big into the Christmas movies, and there's, like I say, other than the Grinch, there's a few that I have to watch every year. This is where my wife actually gets on board with me. And last night we started the Christmas movie watching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we watched the all 3 of the Santa Claus films last night.
All the Tim Allen movies?
Yeah, the Tim Allen ones. We watch those every year.
All 3 of them, huh?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The third one with they thought adding Martin Short would make it better. It did not. The third one is awful. But at the same time, you can't watch the first 2 and not watch the third one.
Gotcha.
You kind of have to.
Okay.
So, it's just like you can't watch episode 1 and episode 2 in Star Wars and not watch episode 3.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to get the season started, the week started off right, watching the Christmas movies. And I know we have the Christmas Chronicles, because they've done a second movie this year. Are you familiar with the Christmas Chronicles?
No.
This is a new, last year they came out with the first Christmas Chronicles movie, Netflix original. Okay. Of course, you have Netflix to have it, but it's worth it. Yeah. Dude, all I need to tell you is this. All I should need to tell you is this. The people who play Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
If I tell you that, you should want to watch it.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus is played by Goldie Hawn.
I'm interested.
Now, who would be the perfect person to play Santa Claus?
Kurt Russell.
And he does.
Shut the fuck up.
It's Kurt Russell as Santa Claus.
Kurt Russell's Santa Claus. Watch
this? Yes. And it's his own facial hair. I almost guarantee that.
Oh, so we're talking like he looks like he did in, oh my goodness.
Hateful Eight? A little bit.
Hateful Eight, yeah.
A little bit like that.
No joke.
Little more beard, little more wild. But you have to imagine, it is Kurt Russell as Santa Claus.
That's fantastic.
Exactly what you expect Kurt Russell as Santa Claus to be. Dude, there's a musical number.
All right, yeah, that's it. I'm in.
And I believe
I'm in.
I believe I'm going to double check this, but I believe there's a Van Zandt in the musical number. I believe it might be the E Street Band that's in the musical number.
No way.
I'm not positive.
I gotta see this.
Let me make sure. Hold on, I'm looking this up right now. Wish we had theme music for when I was looking things up. Well, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure that it has at least portions of the E Street Band. I know that Steven Van Zandt is in the band.
Oh shit.
That's playing. So if it's Steven Van Zandt there, it's very possible it's the whole E Street Band. But Steven, I recognize Steven Van Zandt being in there. He's got the the headscarf and all of that.
Yeah.
He's a part of the musical group that plays for the short period of time.
What's the name of the Christmas Chronicles, right?
The Christmas Chronicles, yeah. Because I don't know anybody else in E Street.
There's a few. Max Weinberg is in the E Street Band. Okay.
Mark Ribler.
Okay, so Maureen Van Zant is there. So Steve and Maureen Van Zant. Let's see. Who is the band in the... Oh, I'm looking up who is the band in the Christmas Chronicles. Oh my God, that shot of Kurt has just sold the fuck out of me on this. It's just like, it's a screenshot, but I mean, come on. Van Zant plays Wolfie. Ribbler plays Dusty. Oh my God, they're the elves. Are they the elves? They're not the elves. Who are the musicians?
No, he's in jail at that time, and there are people in jail that he uses his Santa magic to make them get instruments and do a musical number.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
So so is it the E Street Band?
There's Van Zant and Mark Ribler. No, it's not the E Street Band themselves. Let's see. It's actually Van Zant's current group, Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul. The whole gang crowds into those two neighboring cells behind Santa, Little Steven, and Mark. The jail band includes Steven Van Zant, Mark Ribler, Stan Harrison, Clark Gayton, Ravi Best, Ron Tooley, Eddie Mannion, Anthony Almonte, Jack Daly, Andy Burton, Lowell Banana Levinger,
nice,
Richard Mercurio, Maureen Van Zant, Sarah Devine, Tania Jones, and Jaquita May. Wow.
Yeah. No, it is one of the craziest Christmas movies I've ever seen. And again, it's Kurt Russell as freaking Santa.
Yeah.
There should be nothing else you need to know. And they made another one that I haven't seen yet. I saw the first one. I have not seen the second one yet. So I'm like, I have excitement because I really want to see the second one.
On top of that, the lead vocals are actually sung by Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
That is dope.
Yeah.
Dude, it's amazing.
Have to want to watch it.
Yeah, I have to see this.
And again, they have the second one coming out, or the second one's already out. Yeah.
Oh, there's a sequel too. All right, I'm down.
You have to have Netflix. And then there's another one that just came out last year, Noel. It was one with Anna Kendrick was the main star of that one, and I love that one. So that's
cute. Okay.
I love Christmas movies. That one, Noel, I believe is it's either Netflix or it's Disney Plus. I don't remember. I think it might be Disney Plus. Which leads me to the next thing I need to talk about with you, sir. You need to get yourself some Disney Plus streaming service.
Uh-huh.
You need to.
Okay.
Because you are missing out on the cultural revolution that is not just The Mandalorian.
Really? Now what?
The Mandalorian has we already know that there's going to be, you already know because we've already discussed it a little bit, but not necessarily on here. There are going to be offshoots.
Yes.
Of more Star Wars series coming out now after the success of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Which, by the way, second season of Mandalorian ended last Friday.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I didn't watch it on Friday. I did my best to try to actually I didn't watch it Friday morning. I did my best to try to avoid as many things as I could because I knew spoilers would be up.
Yes.
I saw a single spoiler, one picture.
Oh, really? Okay.
And you're already going to be marking some of this, so mark that there are some spoilers for anybody who doesn't know yet.
Yes.
Most people have either already know or
I will state that there are spoilers for The Mandalorian season 2.
All I saw was an open door, and it looked like an Imperial design door, like inside of a Star Destroyer or a Death Star or something.
Okay.
Because that, opening from both sides kind of thing. It was an open door. There was smoke, and there was a green lightsaber. Now,
whoa. Should I edit that out? Because maybe we shouldn't. I know exactly what that means because I know when this series takes place, even though I haven't watched it.
And I knew what it meant too, but don't edit it out because it's everywhere now. Everybody's talked about this.
Okay.
This is everywhere. Put the spoiler in. It's everywhere because I saw this picture.
Son of a
online.
bitch!
I saw this picture online the same day it came out, and I was like, "Oh my god, no!"
Wait, how many years? How many years after Jedi does this take place?
A couple of years, 5, I think.
5 years?
Yeah.
Who did they get?
Who did they get?
Who did they get?
You don't know that part?
No. Who would they get? Who would they get?
They got him.
Fuck off. They couldn't get him.
They got him.
He's fucking 60.
Digital de-aging.
Not in his body.
No, they worked through that.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up when I get off the when we get off the podcast.
He does not do the fight sequence. They have somebody else do the fight.
Wait
sequence.
a minute. Did they Arnold him? Did they give him a body double?
No, they had somebody hooded up doing the fight sequence.
Oh, cool.
You see glimpses of the face during the fight sequence. But
okay, what I'm thinking like is how they had the last couple of Terminator films when they have a younger Terminator, they have a body double and they just graft his face on.
Basically, that's what they did. Yeah, they have a scene like that. They have a scene like that in Rise of Skywalker. In Rise of Skywalker, there's a where there's Luke and Leia training on Endor.
Yeah.
For a moment, they did the same basic type of thing here.
Shit, they could even lead into that at this point.
Here's the thing. The way that episode's set up, basically an entire squadron of robotic dark troopers. So they were droids. They were dark trooper droids.
Right.
That very much had both an Iron Man and Terminator type look to them on purpose.
Okay.
During that episode, they were made to, the way they were shot was to try to invoke the idea of Terminator.
Okay.
Because there's so much nostalgia in these episodes, dude. So much nostalgia.
Okay.
This show is rife with it. And they're about to come into the freaking command room of the ship they're on.
Right.
They've caught the bad guy. It's just, by the way, the team that leads the assault on this ship, there's the Mandalorian, who's a dude, right?
Yes.
And then the team that is assaulting the ship, who, by the way, they've already met up with Boba Fett.
Right.
With the guy who played Jango Fett playing Boba Fett.
Right.
Older Boba Fett. They've met up with Boba Fett. Boba Fett is helping them now. There's 4 of the Mandalorian's friends who are assaulting this Imperial Remnant cruiser, okay, to try to rescue the child who'd been kidnapped 2 episodes previously.
Right.
Grogu, the child Yoda thing.
Yeah, his name is what now?
Grogu.
That's his name is Grogu?
Grogu. That's his name.
Okay.
So this team of 4 is infiltrating it. It's not even mentioned. It's not even talked about. Nothing is said about this team of 4. The fact that all 4 of them are women.
Oh, cool.
It's a team of 4 women warriors that is assaulting this. And there's no mention of the fact that they're women doing this. It's just these 4 women who are doing this.
Cool. So there's just there's like, well, not like, but you're a woman or what? None of that bullshit. It's just
no issue.
Beautiful.
About it.
Beautiful. I love it.
Women are assaulting this thing and taking it out. It's amazing.
Beautiful. That's so fucking great, man.
4 of them are on the bridge with the bad guy and Grogu and the Mandalorian. And these robots are coming because they thought they defeated the robots, but they didn't, because venting robots out into space doesn't really help when they have jets that they can fly with. You can't kill them by venting them into space. And if they have jets on their feet, they can fly back to the ship.
Right.
Not really a good way to defeat these guys. So they're coming to the bridge. They're trying to break through the door of the bridge, and suddenly you see through there's an alert that a ship is incoming, and you see through the glass in the bridge, you see an X-wing go across, and I was just like, having seen the green saber, I was like, holy, they didn't do this. They didn't. And you see the X-wing stop, and the dude in black gets out, all black with a black cloak.
Shit.
And he goes, and all the robots stop trying to break through the door, and they all turn and start heading towards the hangar. And he systematically goes through every single one of them. You saw Rogue One, right? You eventually saw that, right?
Yes.
The Darth Vader scene where at the very end where Darth Vader is trying to get to the plans.
Right.
He comes through the door.
Yeah, and he just mows down. It's one of the most epic movie scenes like I've seen in the last 10 years. It's so good.
That door shot is mirrored in the door shot in the Mandalorian.
That's killer. But it's
the way that he goes through it, the way that Vader goes through all those rebels.
Yeah.
That is what Luke is doing, going through all these people. And I'm just it is the Luke that everybody wanted to see. This is the Jedi Knight Luke, the full-on Jedi Knight Luke, Jedi Master even Luke, just taking and mowing everything down. I am jumping up and down in my seat and smacking the couch, trying to make sure that my wife is paying attention. I called my son down to watch it happen, and I am freaking out as I'm watching this. I knew it was coming. I when I saw that green glow, I knew it was coming, and then you see it, and then he enters the room, takes off his hood, and it's the de-aged face, and it is Mark Hamill doing the face, doing the words.
Wow.
And they just de-aged him. And Hamill confirmed that it's him, and they've kept it a secret for a whole year. That he was involved with.
Shit.
Hamill confirmed it on Twitter. Yeah. Dude, The Mandalorian is everything that we ever wanted Star Wars to be, perfected, done exactly right. It pays homage to the films that inspired Star Wars. It pays homage back to Star Wars. It has so many little interconnections and things, and it builds these relationships in such amazing ways. There are so many shots just in the last 5 minutes of that episode that are callbacks to other Star Wars things.
Wow.
It is the best Star Wars thing that has ever been made, period.
Damn, dude. That's amazing. I'm going to have to see this.
On top of The Mandalorian, there's, of course, the announcement of the Ahsoka Tano series.
Whoa.
Which Ahsoka was finally realized in live action because she was a main character in the Clone Wars as Anakin's apprentice.
Yeah.
His Padawan learner.
Yeah.
She made an appearance in a Mandalorian episode played by Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
And you don't bring in Rosario Dawson to play one episode.
No.
You bring in Rosario Dawson to set up her being Ahsoka Tano in her own series. And there's going to be an Ahsoka Tano series. There's a bunch of other series that they're talking about. There's a Lando series they're going to do. Which, if they do a Lando series...
Are they getting Glover? They've got to get done.
They might get... I don't know if they're getting Glover or not. That would be great. But that does open up the door for there to be live-action Darth Maul again. Because if they set it in the right time, Darth Maul may still be alive.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Because Darth Maul made an appearance in the Solo story.
Right. Whoa.
And Darth Maul didn't die until a certain episode of the Rebels. Of Star Wars Rebels.
Right. Exactly.
They have confirmed and are filming the Obi-Wan series.
I did know that.
With Ewan McGregor.
Yes.
And with Hayden Christensen.
Yes.
Playing Darth Vader.
I am honestly down to see Hayden as Vader just because they actually have a better team behind it. Like, I blame more than anything Lucas's I don't blame Lucas's casting of Christensen. I blame Lucas's directing of Christensen.
Directing, yes.
Yeah, that's what it was more than anything.
Here's the thing. People are saying, wait, the last time that Obi-Wan and Darth Vader saw each other was on Mustafar. Not true. If you actually pay attention to the dialogue in the original Star Wars, or what's now known as A New Hope, Vader says, I haven't felt that feeling since, and then trails off.
Right.
He doesn't say when the last time he felt Obi-Wan's presence was.
Right.
Just says he hasn't felt it since a certain time.
Right.
We don't know if there has or has not been any other encounters.
Right.
With Obi-Wan, and with them both being in the series, there's going to be encounters.
Yes.
Well, for the first time ever, something Star Wars related actually had an in-credit scene. Because Star Wars typically does not have in-credit scenes. This is comic book movie.
Yeah, totally.
Not Star Wars. Well, Star Wars had an in-credit scene. Yes. The Mandalorian specifically did. Last episode of The Mandalorian, in-credit scene.
Okay.
In-credit scene, you see the exterior of Jabba's palace from Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Inside Jabba's palace, and Bib Fortuna, his major domo, from Return of the Jedi.
Is he the blue guy?
He was a Twi'lek. No, he was actually kind of tan colored. He was a Twi'lek. He was the one that when Luke comes to Jabba's palace and Luke wants to go see Jabba, and he's like, "No Jabba, no Bada."
Oh yeah.
Sharp teeth and whatnot, big huge head tail wrapped around his body.
Yep, that guy.
That's Bib Fortuna.
Right.
Bib Fortuna is sitting on what was the slab that Jabba sat on, but there's actually a throne sitting on it now. He's sitting on it, and Fortuna's
Jabba was killed
fat.
during Jedi. That was
Leia
kills Jabba during Jedi. Yeah.
Bib Fortuna somehow survives, and he's chilling, he's doing his thing, and suddenly people are dying in the corridor, and in walks Finnick Shad, who is played by Ming-Na Wen. Great Asian American actress.
Yeah.
She's working with Boba Fett during the series of The Mandalorian. She's one of the people that assaulted the ship at the end of the last episode.
Oh, okay, cool.
She was part of that group.
Yeah.
She comes down the stairs into Jabba's throne room, or formerly Jabba's throne room.
Okay.
And follow behind her, Boba Fett.
Okay.
And Bib Fortuna's trying to talk to Boba Fett. Hey, I thought you died, man. Oh, we're all good. Yada, yada, yada. And Boba Fett's just like, nope. Pop. Shoots Bib Fortuna.
Okay.
Climbs up the side of the slab up to the throne, tosses Bib Fortuna, just grab him by the shoulder and just tosses his dead body off the throne. And then sits down on the throne. Everybody else disperses from the room. There's a Twi'lek that's a slave dancer that's chained up. Her chain gets shot and she's told to leave. Everybody else just leaves, and it's just him and Finnick sitting there in the throne room. And then you see a title. It goes to black, and there's a title: The Book of Boba Fett. There is a Boba Fett spin-off series now.
Holy shit,
dude! Add to that the fact that currently on Disney Plus you can watch all of the MCU movies in chronological order. They even have it set up to watch them all in chronological.
A chronological
order.
playlist. That's great.
You can click down chronological order of the movies. You can watch all of them in chronological order. You can watch the new series that are coming out, which the Scarlet Witch series that's coming out.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Yeah.
It's some kind of weird mind bending. It's crazy because it takes place in some kind of alternate reality. And as I think we've discussed before through messages, the movies that are coming out, the Doctor Strange movie is the Multiverse of Madness. It will be dealing with the idea of multiverse. There's been all the memes out about Spider-Man and all the different actors from previous Spider-Man movies, possibly reprising stuff in the different movies. Because we'll be dealing with a full-on multiverse shift.
Wow.
So yeah, this is why you need Disney Plus, sir, because so many of these things that are building up to all this stuff is coming out, and it's beautiful. I mean, it would be better for you if it had like Star Trek or whatever, but seriously, the Mandalorian is, if you're going to binge watch anything, binge watch that. It's so beautiful.
All right.
It's so amazing. I have not had, I mean, as much happiness as I had for the new Star Wars movies when they came out. This is like, there's that brief happiness when the movie comes out, and that just sheer moment of joy, but then like it's over.
Right.
I have reason to hope and look forward to a long cycle of beautiful Star Wars things that are coming, and it excites me. It makes me very happy. So Disney Plus,
yes,
and that leads me into my final thing that I wanted to talk about today. Again, we've talked so much about different celebrity deaths. There was another one this last week. It actually happened the day after or a day or two after we did our last podcast.
Oh, really?
And it's funny that I'm mentioning Mandalorian and then I'm mentioning Boba Fett. Tamura Morrison, who plays Boba Fett currently, and whose voice was later dubbed in for Boba Fett. He was originally hired to play Jango Fett in episode 2.
Oh,
and therefore he played Jango Fett and was therefore the mold for all of the clones, because Jango Fett was the genetic material for the clones in the Clone War.
Yeah.
Boba Fett was a unaltered clone, whereas the clones that were made as the Clone Army were altered to be more subservient.
Right.
Okay. Take orders better. but were also altered to grow at an accelerated rate.
Okay.
And then they also had microchips put in their head that when Sidious said execute Order 66, they went around and killed a bunch of Jedi.
Right.
Which, by the way, again, going back to other properties, they recently released the last season of the Clone Wars TV series.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 2 episodes of that are Ahsoka Tano having to deal with Order 66 and how she survives.
Oh, yeah.
And it is some of the most amazing animation I've ever seen in my entire life.
Good Lord, man.
The way that they deal with her surviving Order 66 is
I got a lot to catch up on.
It's painful. It's painful and heartbreaking. Of course, there's also the wonders of exactly how did Grogu survive Order 66, because he was at the Jedi Temple.
What?
During that time. Yeah, Grogu was at the Jedi Temple. He's 50 years old. Baby Yoda, he's 50. Their species ages slowly.
Oh.
I mean, Yoda was like 900 years old when he died.
Yeah.
So Grogu is 50. He was at the Jedi Temple when Order 66 came down.
Huh.
Somehow or another, or at least during that time frame, somehow or another, he was away from the temple when it specifically happened. Somebody saved him. There's been lots of rumors as to who. One of the most recent ones is that R2-D2 saved him somehow. One of the more prevalent ones.
Would he have been in with the younglings?
Who?
Grogu.
Yes, he would have been in with the younglings.
He would have been in the room with the younglings? Holy shit. They're going to answer that question when they've got, I bet you they're going to answer that question in the Obi-Wan series.
They may, but there's another possibility in this. It is
unless it's with Ahsoka Tano.
Well, no. Ahsoka did not. I can say this much: Ahsoka met Grogu in the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and she did not. She wasn't at. She was on a freighter with Darth Maul. Interestingly enough, when Order 66 went down.
Oh,
so she couldn't have been involved in saving Grogu.
No, she wouldn't have been.
She kind of knew him, but didn't know him well.
Gotcha.
She just knew kind of him. But one of the prevalent theories right now is that it was Mace Windu, because Mace Windu may still be alive.
What? Shut up.
That's one of the theories.
I mean, he just fell down the.
He got his arm cut off, but he fell. But Jedi can survive falls like that.
Yeah, I've always been weird about that. If that's the case, dude, that's going to be amazing.
And a lightsaber cauterizes the wound, so he's not going to bleed out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
That would be a hell of a thing to bring Sam Jackson back.
That would be absolutely fantastic. And it would be... Well, he would be age appropriate for that, too, depending on when...
He would be. No, yes, he would be, because we're talking about this is about 25 years or so after about 25 years after the events of what happened at Order 66. So yeah, he could be close to age appropriate.
That's fantastic, dude.
A little bit of makeup.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like I said, Tamura Morrison was hired to be Jango Fett, and then his face was used as the template for all the clones.
Yeah.
And his voice, he's from either Australia or New Zealand. He is Maori.
Oh, and, yes.
He's Maori, so he has kind of an Aussie accent, New Zealand accent to his voice.
Yeah.
I believe he's from New Zealand. And so I believe James Arnold Taylor was the voice actor who did the voices of all the clones in the Clone Wars.
Ah, okay.
And did fantastic job of replicating the voice styles of Tamara Morrison.
Yeah.
And Morrison is, luckily he's gotten a little bit more of a career off of the Jango Fett thing than what many people would have expected. Most notably, he was, even though it was a small role, he played the father of Adam Curry in the most recent Aquaman movie, which is appropriate for him to play the father of Jason Momoa's character.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
With Nicole Kidman playing the mother of, for those of you who don't know, Arthur Curry is, of course, the Aquaman. That is the Aquaman's real name. And if you don't know that, stop listening. Know your superheroes' real names. But of course, with Momoa, you need at least somebody with some kind of Pacific Islander heritage to play one of the parents to make it believable.
Right.
Especially when Nicole Kidman is his mom. And so an interesting Australian. So that's good. Australian and New Zealand. That works together. But Tamara Morrison got to play that part, and when I saw him on screen, I was just excited because he's a fantastic actor, and I think because of the fact that he's Maori, he doesn't necessarily get offered as many parts as some people do, and he's great subtlety in his acting, and then to be brought in to play Boba Fett, which would be age appropriate for him to play Boba Fett after all these years,
right?
He's fantastic as Boba Fett, but in Empire and in Return of the Jedi, there was an uncredited, actually, I wouldn't say uncredited, there was a voice actor that did the voice of it, and I don't remember who he is, because it wasn't necessarily an important voice in the way that like Darth Vader was.
Right.
But just like David Prowse was the guy in the suit, there was another guy in the suit. There was a guy who was Boba Fett in those movies.
Yeah.
There was a guy in the suit. And his name was Jeremy Bulloch. And he died this last week.
Oh, dude, that's terrible.
And far lesser known than even David Prowse was.
Yeah.
Was Jeremy Bulloch. You have to be a real Star Wars lore person, even more so, to know who Jeremy Bulloch was. But yeah,
wow,
he died too. Just another guy that the thing is, the physicality of Boba Fett was part of it. When you have a character that never takes off his mask, is always in that suit. As we discussed with Prowse, the physicality is a huge part of the situation.
Yeah.
And he brought the physicality that we know of Boba Fett.
Man.
And so what's nice is he at least may have gotten the chance to see the character that he represented resurrected in screen, in the TV series The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But yeah, just another one of those unsung heroes that's behind the various things that we love, and even lesser known than what some of the others are. So, but funny confluence for it to happen at the same time as Boba Fett is having a resurgence and now has a brand new series.
Man, dude, that's insane.
It is. But hey, it does give something for Star Wars fans to have remembrance of, and a way to celebrate the character that he helped originate, in the coming years. So
yeah,
that's kind of nice. We can keep him in our memory for that. He started Boba Fett for us.
Man.
So, and I will tell you this much. The other thing he got to see, Boba Fett is a very much loved and hated figure in Star Wars lore, because in the legends, in all the books and stuff, Boba Fett is all the badass that we've ever wanted him to be.
Right.
The Star Wars fans have wanted him to be. But like in Empire, okay, he does a few okay things, not really much. And then in Return of the Jedi, he gets beaten almost immediately and falls in the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
He's kind of worthless. It's like, aren't you supposed to be these awesome Mandalorians who are great at fighting Jedi, and you get whacked in your backpack and you're done? Actually, funny enough, first episode of the second season of The Mandalorian, they reference that.
Oh, that's great.
His backpack, his armor, Boba Fett's armor is actually being worn by a different person, and the backpack gets hit and it stops working. And the guy's like,
great.
Hey, that's not my fault. You did that. So it shows how that specific backpack design was not necessarily the most sturdy and hardy design.
That's great.
But in the films, that there's the people that loved Boba Fett, and the people were like, nah, look what happened to him. He died so quickly in Return of the Jedi. He never got to be the big badass that we expected. Let me tell you something right now. The Mandalorian, Boba Fett is the big badass that we always expected him to be.
So they're just like Jon Favreau and everybody on that team is just bringing everything everyone wanted to expect.
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have basically Dave Filoni for the longest time has been making Star Wars better and better, and Dave Filoni got to be he got the supreme luck of being able to basically get the full download of everything Star Wars from George Lucas. And then he became the keeper of everything Star Wars.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if there are questions about anything, any major decisions that have to be made, one of the first people they consult is Filoni to make sure that it fits within the Star Wars canon.
Damn.
But
the fact that you have people that that's got to be like, that guy has to be paid like mad money just to keep that continuity,
I'm sure there's a money component to it, but like, this is a guy that just lives, eats, and breathes Star Wars.
Yeah, all I'm saying is like this guy better be getting paid what he's worth is all I'm saying. He needs to be making that money if he's not already, because you don't have somebody that can hold up that amount of consistency. This isn't like, and I'll call it out as it is, like, there was so much lack of consistency that they're now repairing in the Star Trek universe or creating other reasons or excuses for it that were just... And originally with the old Star Wars stuff, they had all of these essentially remote stories. But it wasn't until they started the novelization of the series that people started really paying attention. The fact that there have been decades and decades worth of people that care so much that they make sure that this is consistent is probably like a major factor that Star Trek doesn't have, just in comparison.
Well, and that's something that you're finding in the difference between the way the MCU works and the DCU. DC has its most success when it actually has all the various cartoons that are there. Each one is their kind of their own continuity. There's a few that have, a couple of movies, a couple of animated movies in a row that deal with the same continuity, but they're able to explore with the animation multiple continuities and multiple possibilities of things happening.
That's the appeal of the characters, though, is the Elseworlds appeal.
That. But where their film universe failed is they couldn't keep the continuity of theme and feel through the film universe.
Yeah.
This is where the Marvel film universe succeeded. In that they kept a full continuity throughout all of the films, and a full feel throughout the films.
Exactly, that was all part of the plan from the get-go, from like 2008.
Yeah, they were able to completely focus that and make everything work within that continuity, to where there are some things that are continuity errors, but they are very slight and small in comparison to other things. And for the most part, the throughout the entirety of the MCU so far, what they have done with it, they were able to take multiple character arcs and take them to the appropriate places, move them where they needed to, pay off things that there's specific things that happen in Endgame that specifically pay off lines that are spoken in the original Avengers movie. I mean, you have a confrontation between Captain America and Iron Man in the original Avengers movie,
right?
And it's Captain America saying, "You're not the guy to do the sacrifice play," to Iron Man,
right?
There's always a way out for you. And then Iron Man saying to him, the only thing special about you came out of a bottle. And to Captain America. And what happens in Endgame? Captain America is the only other person other than Thor worthy to wield Mjolnir.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with the experiment that came out of a bottle. That has to do with who Captain America is.
Right.
And he was worthy back in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. He just didn't want to hurt Thor's feelings. He had always been worthy to wield it, but he shows himself worthy to wield it. So he is special as who he is, not because of the super strength, but because he is worthy of being the ruler of Asgard, basically.
Right.
And having the power of Thor. And who does the sacrifice play at the end?
Exactly.
And so
it's like you have
this beautiful payoff of it. And what's happening is the Mandalorian is being used in the Star Wars universe, and all these other offshoots are being used to take where there's been story inconsistencies and where there's been issues, and it's weaving and welding them together to build this long continuous story, to the point that the way that the Legends universe was fleshed out in Star Wars through all the novels, they are now doing it in the series and the movies to create the fully fleshed universe that existed. And it's so beautiful to see that the way that they're putting it together.
Yeah.
And Favreau, you got to think about the fact Favreau directed Iron Man and Iron Man 2. He started the MCU. He is now done with the Mandalorian, jump-started from the ashes of the Skywalker saga. He has jump-started Star Wars to the point where all of these series are going to be a whole nother area of it. And the Skywalker saga will sit as it's this story about this family, but the rest of the Star Wars universe is going to branch off from all of these other stories being told. I mean, Jon Favreau is like my favorite person in existence right now.
Yeah, I can get behind that. That makes sense.
He's so money, he doesn't even know he's money.
Yeah.
And to think that's the movie that started him.
Right.
So, and hey, I'm gonna hipster this. I was a fan of him back then. I liked him before he was the Jon Favreau we know today. So let's just make that part clear, okay? But yeah, it's a beautiful day for these things. And guess what that means? You need to get Disney Plus. And here's the beauty of it: if you sign up for Disney Plus, you can also get ESPN and Hulu at the same time for one low monthly rate.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. You should do it. By the way, just so everybody knows, I'm not being paid by Disney Plus to say any of this. I wish I was. I'm just saying. They don't
need to send out people for endorsements of Disney Plus. They're Disney Plus.
I understand that. I'm just saying, for people listening, I need my dude to watch this stuff so I can talk to him about it. I mean, I can do the peer pressure on you. You know who I did discuss the last episode of The Mandalorian with the other day?
Oh, who?
Scott.
Shut up.
Yeah, because Scott has Disney Plus. I have it. Scott has it, but who doesn't? Mikey. Normally we think about the fact that Scotty doesn't know something, right? Well, Scotty does know that Disney Plus is good for it. Just so you know. So many references in there.
That was good.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
I try. Oh, hey, hold on.
What?
Do you like Bill Burr, the comedian?
Yeah, he's all right.
Guess what?
What?
He's in The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. He's actually got a pretty good part.
Oh.
The last episode that he was in was amazing. It was so not what you expect to have happen. It was great.
Okay.
It was great. Anyway, I'll stop trying to plug Disney Plus, although I will say again, everybody needs to get it because it's giving you all the Star Wars right now. And if you love the Star Wars, that's your place to get it. And if you don't love the Star Wars, learn to love it. I will admit I have a little bit of trepidation of all the people that are the bandwagon jumpers with the Mandalorian. Never cared about Star Wars before, but suddenly the Mandalorian. Oh my gosh, Star Wars is so amazing! Look at the cute little baby Yoda. There's a little glimmer of annoyance, but at the same time, it's like, great. You're at least opened up to the beauty of Star Wars. Maybe you'll be able to see the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it'll touch you in the way that it's touched me. Maybe you'll look around your office one day and see nothing but Star Wars stuff. Maybe. Just do me a favor. Don't buy the stuff I want to buy. Let me get it. Anyway, Mike.
Yes.
Segue.
I love
Where
it.
can people be listening to us?
Well, you could be listening to us at the XennialChronicles.com or Zencron.com, XenChron. Speaking of Zencron, we're also on various social media. We are on Facebook and we are on Twitter, and we have a lot of other stuff too. We're also on most of the major podcast websites: TuneIn, Spotify, Apple, Google, all that kind of fun stuff. And speaking of Google, we are also on YouTube as well. You could be listening to us there. So yeah, I believe that is it there. By the way, there's more. Sorry.
There should be more.
If you are listening or watching us on YouTube in a video, please make sure that you click the like button on the video if you dug the episode, and click that subscribe button. And James, I believe there is something else for them to do. What is that?
Click the bell.
That's right. Click the bell to make sure that you get notified on the next episode that we put out. We put them out normally every week on every Thursday. Unless for some reason we can't do that, in which we will be putting out a video on our YouTube channel. So that's the place to go listen to us the most. Yes, I would say.
YouTube is good. And while you're on YouTube, check out, for instance, this week, you can check out that, as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, on Ruling Note Music, one of Mike's other pages on YouTube. Mike did a cover version in the style of Black Label Society.
Yeah.
Of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch song.
Yeah.
He does that Ruling Note Music page. He does different cover performances. He'll talk about music history, talk about recording tips. Good place to go for all things music.
Yeah.
And then if you're interested in watching Mike utterly fail at video games, you can catch his other page that he does with his wife, Chronicles Games, which actually has its own custom URL.
Yep.
I'm not sure exactly what that means, but apparently it's good.
We're also that page is actually also on Twitch now too. You can find Chronicles Games on Twitch. which that's a live streaming service that we do, that we are part of as well. And we do live game. We're actually currently playing a game on Monday and Wednesday nights called Danganronpa, which is basically... Yes, exactly. Danganronpa is it's this weird anime dating sim type, except it's a whodunit mystery where you are in a high school full of students that are trapped by you should see this just for the voice acting. I'm kind of proud of the voice acting that I'm doing on this one, James. Okay. So you should check us out.
I will check it out for the voice acting.
Yeah.
I'll give you tips.
Yeah. Yes. Because we're dry reading, but it's a lot of fun. And it's very interesting. It's basically murder mystery style. But it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever heard of it's like, have you ever heard of the series Battle Royale, James?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like Battle Royale, but it's a murder mystery series. So it's basically text-based with a little bit of animation, that kind of stuff. But the goal of the game, we've now gotten into the meat of it, and you're with a bunch of different high school students all trapped in a school, and you can't get out. The only way you can graduate is if you were to kill someone and not get caught. So when someone dies, there's a trial that's held.
So it's like that one. It's kind of like a high school version, a Japanese high school version of the that one game where everybody's in like the spacesuits or whatever.
Sort of like you're talking Among Us. Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
So, but it's a scripted series. And there is some really good voice acting in the game itself, and we do what we can to kind of come up with our own versions of stuff just for funsies. You know, our own versions of the voices just for fun. But yeah, there's that too.
If anybody listening, if that sounds like your bag, go ahead and check it out. Like both of those pages, subscribe, click their bells too, because that's what you're supposed to do to follow people on YouTube. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and please, we're going to say it since the there's nobody that can stop us, because we do live in a free country and there's never been anybody to stop people from saying this. We're going to say Merry Christmas to you all. Hope you all enjoy.
Merry Christmas, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues next week.